And welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. It is a new era for the city of Detroit as voters elect the city's first female mayor, Mary Sheffield, dominating in last night's election, taking 77% of that vote. Governor Whitmer released a statement on Sheffield's win, reading congratulations to Mary Sheffield for being elected the next mayor of Detroit. Our city is home of one of the greatest comeback stories in the country, defined by hard work and grit. I look forward to working together to build on our incredible progress and keep making our city a great place to live, work, and invest. Now, one important thing to note is the voter turnout. A live look right now at the Detroit City Clerk's website. And time and time again, Detroit voters are not going to the polls. Yesterday, no exception. You can see off on the right-hand side, it marks that there are 519,000 registered voters in the city of Detroit. Only 115,000 cast a vote. That's a turnout of 22%. Here is what Mayor-elect Sheffield had to say about last night's turnout.
We always want to see a higher voter turnout in Detroit, and one of the things I'm going to do in the mayor's office is ensure that we are consistently pushing voter engagement and civic engagement year-round, not just during the election time. I've always had the ear of our young people, and we want to kind of broaden some of our initiatives around civic engagement from a year-round perspective.
All right, so we're going to bring back the roundtable now to have a more in-depth conversation on turnout in the city of Detroit. Again, Orlando Bailey, the executive director of Outlier Media, and former Detroit City Council member and longtime political consultant, Sheila Cockrel. I want to start here because turnout last night was better than it has been.
Yes.
So you see that as a positive thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we need to celebrate it. I mean, we had an increase in the primary election in August from 4 years ago, and we see in that held true in this election as well. It's, first of all, it's an quote unquote an off-year election. It's not even a midterm election. So across the country, turnout is never as good as people would want it. But this is at least a 3 percentage point increase over the 2021 general election turnout. That has attributable to, I think, the great work that many organizations, I shouldn't say many, but a few significant organizations, including Outlier Media, Bridge Detroit, League of Women Voters, the AKAs and the Deltas. The people have made a concerted effort to get the word out and to get people information on candidates. And I think that, and my organization, Citizen Detroit as well, I should add. But it's an important step that's been taken. We should celebrate it. It's not good enough. It's not ideal. But the assault on democracy has not so totally demoralized people in Detroit that fewer people showed up than before.
You know, I appreciate your glass half full perspective, because when I saw the numbers, I'm just thinking, it never seems to get any better, but it did get a little better.
Yes.
My concern is that there are so many people in the city of Detroit, and only a fraction of them are letting their voices be heard, and I can't figure out why.
Only a fraction of them are letting their voices be heard at the ballot box. That's
but isn't that where it counts?
It counts. Yes, sure it counts, but there are other ways that folks are getting engaged, and I think that, and of course we want voter turnout to increase. I mean, 16% in the last mayoral general, 22% in this one. Yep. We are celebrating that percentage point bump up. But I think that there is a difference between civic engagement and trust in politicians.
There you go.
And the political machine. I am a person who believes that everybody should go out and vote. But I think people have to deal with their experiences and their current condition. And if people's current conditions have not changed after voting and voting and voting and voting again, I don't think that's apathy. I think that is them trying to veer away from insanity, right? And so we have to have real conversations with people, not talk at them, talk to people about why they aren't voting, but also hear them when they begin to dissect what's happening at the city, how engaged they are, the calls that they make, the meetings that they show up to. And so it's much more complex and nuanced than we make it out to be. I don't want to cast any broad strokes here.
Sure,
I don't want to demonize people who don't show up to the polls. Detroiters have been through a lot Detroiters have dealt with a lot of trauma and broken promises. And so let's continue to talk to people and figure out how we can get folks out.
That's an interesting conversation. So if we boil that down, let's say that I am someone who is living in poverty, or I'm having a hard time finding a job, or right now I don't have SNAP benefits to put food on my table. All of these, I suppose, have become contributing factors to whether or not I believe in, quote unquote, the system.
Yeah.
Right?
That it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. But I think this moment in Detroit with with Mayor-elect Sheffield, particularly being able to motivate young people and to break down some of that cynicism that our voices aren't being heard, is going to be really important to the next 10 years in the city's growth. And I do think, though, we have to also acknowledge that there's a generational thing. I remember when I was younger, there was something, if you didn't like the candidate, it wasn't a perfect candidate, well, you know, I'm going to protest, I'm not going to vote, or I'm going to do a protest vote. Well, that generally doesn't work out well.
It goes the other way around.
You got it. So I think there's something to some civic education around, even if you really don't love your choices, pick one.
Yeah.
If it's Tweedledee or Tweedledum, pick one, because whoever doesn't vote is literally not at the table. So, I mean, understanding and agreeing with what Orlando has said, I still think there's a point at which we just got to say, hey, this is where your life really is impacted, is by who is elected and who's not. So make sure your voice is heard.
I'm asking this question around like our proclivity toward of wanting to be fascinated and inspired by folks running for elective office. We want to love the person that we're filling in
Not
the
just
bubble
like
for,
them.
not just like them,
Or tolerate
or tolerate them. And I'm wondering, like, where did that come from, and why have we
Celebrity culture.
Yeah,
I
sure,
mean,
okay.
it's,
Sure, yeah.
right.
because I don't need to love you.
Right. Can you do the
Can
job?
you do the job?
And do you care about
Do you
me?
care? Yes.
And if you answer those two questions, then even if you're not my favorite person, elect.
So I don't want to presume that you can speak for all millennials,
Oh, here we go.
but in your generation, what is the thought process or the sentiment behind going to vote on election day or absentee or whatever it might be? Is it worthwhile for the young ones right now?
I think it's beginning to become worthwhile. I think for a long time, especially the millennial generation, right after Generation X, and coming off the heels of how the bankruptcy and the Kwame Kilpatrick administration wiped out an entire generation of talent. Folks were just trying to hold on to where they were and just make it. There was no real investment and mentorship in those coming up after, because folks were really just trying to hang on. I think we have seen some relief from that period where the power transfer from the boomers and the Xers, they are having these conversations with us. They are trying to build a bench. And you are going to see more and more millennials come out and vote. I think we have a Gen Zer. I think Denzel McCampbell is a Gen Zer who just won in District 7 at the council seat. And so more and more young people are going to get involved, I think.
And it makes me feel more older and older as we go.
And on that point, Denzel McCampbell and Gabriela Santiago Romero, who won re-election, really now are a clear progressive caucus, on the council, if you wish. And I know Mayor-elect Sheffield, I got it at my home, did a campaign flyer that had her and those two folks, a message, it seems to me, about the ethos of her approach to governance, being very inclusive and looking to talented, younger people like herself who come from a progressive background. It's going to be an exciting time.
Yeah. Let me ask both of you this, and this goes a little off topic here, but it seems to me, just in my experience talking to younger voters, millennials and some Gen Zers, that there is less political divisiveness and more of a willing to be bipartisan and work across the aisle and get things done, because they genuinely care. I don't want to say the olders don't care about people, but there seems to be more of an empathetic tone on let's figure out a way to make things work for all of us. Do you see that, or am I making that up?
I think it's the gift of being young, having a greater level of optimism, right, and less cynicism. Because I think, my grandmother's generation, early boomer, was a part of a generation that saw a city that was well resourced and run and watched everything go away, right? That brings on a type of cynicism that you can't undo, right? The Gen Zers and some of the millennials, and keep in mind, millennials are late 30s and 40s. We're not
I am one of them, actually.
It's like we're knocking on 40, some of us. We're born into a lot of the decline that the city had saw. And so we had nothing but opportunity to dream about what could be. And I think it's the same for Gen Z. And what the difference is folks, especially in Gen Z, I love that conversation you had with a lot of the Gen Z panel, Jerron Howard and all of them, are acting on that vision without needing permission from the generations that raised it.
Yes.
We felt
They're
like we
taking
needed
the
permission. They're just taking it, and I love that.
What do you think?
Well, I think the approach that younger generations, the millennials, Zs, I'm a boomer, whoever you all are, literally approach some of these political issues with a different lens. Like, I know the approach to, like, well, I grew up in an era where when you were putting together a program, you wanted to make sure that you had a really well racially balanced panel and gender balanced panel. And what I hear from younger people is, that, we don't want to be left out, but it doesn't matter the way it mattered for your generation to make that statement. We want to have people who speak to us.
Just people with opinions.
Yes, and I think it's a wonderful improvement.
All right, Orlando, Sheila, thank you so much for all of your insight. I could talk for hours with all of you, but producer Mary says I'm out of time. Mary runs the show, so
always Mary.
Always Mary. It's always Mary. All right, thank you guys so much.